Gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in the Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire the Requiem, Requiem for London. Tonight we set our scene in the Carthian Free State of London, on the western edge of the city itself, comprised of 4 boroughs. This scene takes place within Richmond. Specifically on the southernmost part. Where there is an old pub. Called the Duke of Lancaster. That is where Benji is heading to this evening. So Benji, you are familiar with Richmond?
Matthew is not. Ben is.
Yeah, but it's easy to get around, simple. You know the ins and outs. Not perhaps as well as Alley Cat does. Alley Cat is, well, there's a reason she has the name. But
Yeah.
you still know your way around the streets. It's an area you don't always go through. Give a bit of a wide berth occasionally. Not exactly known for its well, or its how to say, it's not exactly known for being a peaceful setting. It is a bit run down. Fair bit of crime. At least for the outer parts of the city. So,
Yep.
That is where you are. You've been told you can find Huo Chao here.
Ben will just kind of walk in. Kind of try to keep a low profile, see if you can spot him.
You look around, into the pub. It's quite sparse, it's late at night. They won't remain open for that much longer. Maybe an hour or 2. But you browse around. You can see this place has definitely been held by a Deva. There are typical signs of damage, frequent barroom brawls. The bar counter is marked and splintered. Parts of the walls are cracked. have recently had their holes within their structure repaired. Other than that, it's a very traditional pub.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know that. Oh, sorry. You go.
But as you look around, eventually you do see a few kindred auras, or rather, you hear them upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So you had them up, I suppose.
Yep.
It's a small pub. It's not very big. The floor's been reserved for the night. When you walk upstairs, you see the man in question, Wo Chow, a few of his buddies, young kindred neonates and fledglings.
Mm-hmm.
He sees you. The noise dies down a little bit when you approach. But he sort of gestures towards you.
I'll walk up.
He's wearing a fake black leather jacket, white t-shirt, and black leather jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Stocky looking boots.
Do you have a moment? Just to speak, I'll try not to take too much of your time.
Yeah, we said we had a meeting, didn't we?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. Do you want to have this talk in front of the boys and girls? You won't mind, right?
Wouldn't mind.
Take a seat.
Yep.
Sitting at a small table, it's like a small square table. Some of the tables have been put together for like the other kindred.
Mm-hmm.
They appear to be just be having a lark. Don't appear to be doing much in particular. Appears to be lounging.
That's where I have the big brain and come up with a conversation starter. Fuck.
I feel this. It's too relatable for me.
Yep. So.
What do you want to talk about?
I guess a good place to start is, how do you feel about the Free State as a whole? That's a place to start.
You're about a decade late on that question, I'm afraid.
Well, yeah, they're extenuating circumstances. But that doesn't mean that things can't be made better.
Alright, well, what do I think? I think it's trying to not look like a fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily succeeding. I think the council's never really addressed that they fucked over one of their own for perks, regardless of whether they're in the right to do so or not. And I'm not seeing much change or progress from a movement that likes to chant all about change and progress. I see a Primogen council that has given itself power but hasn't really shown any willingness to give it up. I mean, I won't hold the fact that you guys call yourself a council against you, and there's only a limited number of names for fucking power structures.
Yeah.
But you guys more or less selected yourselves. I'd say the only council that seems to have a lot of popular support is probably Charlie, and she represents her coterie who represents the rest of the borough. It's fucking weird, but at least they seem to be genuine.
Yeah.
I mean, they've ran that place for a long time, so I can get it. I can get behind it. I know you've got a lot of friends.
Yeah. Well, there's always room for improvement.
But what have you been doing to push their interests?
Writing mostly, but that's just the cat thing.
It's part of the problem.
Yeah. Hence why I'm here. That I could be doing a better job in making sure the people who are under my purview are that I can better represent everybody that I'm supposed to be representing.
Well, I'll say that's a start.
So I've got to start somewhere.
It's better than a Princeton or a Primogen, at least.
And Ben is just keeping track of of the things that Hugh Chow was saying, just kind of as like a note to himself.
Yeah, the other kindred present, they remain silent in you and Huo's presence. They don't interrupt, although a few look tempted. Huo's eyes flicker to the less disciplined, whenever it looks like they might do something stupid. But his presence and his, I wouldn't even call it gaze, his glance is usually enough, or it is enough to turn them off doing anything foolish, or saying anything foolish. Others appear quite happy that you're here.
Yeah.
They seem almost not relieved, but pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I'll It just kind of thinks for a moment as he's just processing everything that Young Chow said to him. I feel that you're right, on some level that we haven't fully I guess the best way to say it is got together and talked about what happened back during the war. And I feel like an honest conversation about things.
Yeah. No, I've been around long enough to know that kindred moves slowly.
Yeah.
So I'm not as pissed off about this happening 10 years after the fact as I would have been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think most of us here, be fair to say, think this is all coming a bit late. And that's gonna make it harder to hold a conversation.
That's entirely fair.
Less me, more the others. And then you got the ones that aren't gonna hold a conversation at all.
Yeah.
Which none of us are really interested in helping with. That's, if that's their choice as guillotines, that's their choice. And they have every right to be pissed off.
Not.
That said, we know who our real enemies are and it ain't the Carthians.
Yeah.
At least I'd like to think so, outside of for one incident.
Yeah.
I wasn't blind, but I still had a lot of respect for my sire. My blood still runs through my veins.
Yeah.
And I hope you realize I'm going to continue to push our cause.
I think that's perfectly acceptable. I understand that this whole situation is complicated. I never personally hate her. But we were in such a particular situation that it was...
I don't think anybody's going to be interested in hearing justifications.
It's fair. I'm not here to give you a justification for it. I'm just saying that it was... that the whole situation was fucked. Holistically.
Maybe.
Outside.
Well, I would have asked you to question how we're going to fix this, but you clearly have an idea in mind because you're here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to make peace. I mean, I haven't exactly gone out of my way to fuck with you guys.
Yeah.
At the same time, if the council wants the support of our facet of the movement, they're gonna need to show why we should believe in them in the first place. I know you've spent the last 10 years trying to clean up the Carthians Act so you can look good. Personally, I don't really give a fuck how the Invictus perceives us.
Yeah, I got you.
Maybe some of the others.
It was a good idea at the time, considering that we were just coming off the heels of a long and drawn-out conflict to not play low.
Yeah. So, I suppose how much you're willing to help depends on how much the council is willing to do for us. Because we're willing to put in our fair bit. We've always been fair.
Yeah.
Situation fucked or not, we were always fair.
Can I roll a not perception, empathy, like wits empathy or whatever, to kind of get a vibe that he's putting out? Get his vibe. I'm gonna see if he vibe checks me. Ah, shit. Does my specialty in... Fuck. My fuck specialty. Specialty and motivation apply to this. Pretty sure it doesn't.
Not in this case, no. You're trying to see if he's being genuine or not.
Yeah. Alright. I got 3 successes. Nine again is a fun drug.
It is. Alright. So. He appears to be being genuine. He clearly still has baggage about this whole thing. His cooperation... His willingness to cooperate is earnest. And he's also being earnest in that he and his crew are going to want something for it. But the way in which he frames it is less of extortion or bribery. You know that.
Yeah.
Given who he is and who he descends from, the very thought of such a thing would be disgusting, repulsive.
Mm-hmm.
But rather, it's almost like restitution. Or how to say,
Recompense?
recompense, yes. Restitution, recompense, revenge, something.
Just very much this is what we're owed for being the beating boy.
For being the Carthians and the entire city's whipping boys.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not it was deserved.
I need a big brain think about what I'm about to say.
Pardon?
No, I'm just trying to think about what I need to say. Because like because I'm just gonna be thinking out loud for a second. Because at the end there, basically the guillotines and the rest of the movement kind of were just doing their own thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, everything had kind of fallen apart for the movement by the end. It had sort of factionalized very heavily. It couldn't really maintain its unity or cohesion.
Yeah. Because like what I want to do is kind of try to get him to understand Ben's perspective on it. You know what I mean? Be like, listen, in the end there, the guillotines just kind of went off to fight while the rest of the movement were like in Ealing's.
Given your successes, you know he's already said he's not interested in hearing like why it happened. He's not interested. Like he said justifications, but it's clear he's not interested in the reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as he's concerned, that's irrelevant, either because of his loyalty to the guillotines or because it happened 10 years ago. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter to him anymore. You haven't asked him what specifically he wants, though. And, well,
so
that's still open for negotiation. It would be worth getting, perhaps, a picture of what he wants now.
Yeah.
Foster will need to know. The rest of the council will probably need to know.
Alright. So, what do you want? Kind of does like the give and take motion with his hands.
Have the Carthians done anything against Team Victus recently?
Can I make a roll to know that happened?
Yeah, you don't need to. No, they really haven't. Like,
Not
Carthians have been
particularly.
busy sort of cleaning up their own mess. They haven't really made any moves against Team Victus.
Yeah, okay. Not particularly.
It's part of the problem. We haven't taken a stand against the ones we should be fighting for years now. No stands, no protests, no fights. Not even a simple prank at their expense, nothing. Guillotines ain't gonna follow those who won't take shots at their main enemy. want to stand for something, or at the very least against fat. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Now, I'm not asking the Carthians to go to war, because, well, we did that twice already, and they're not interested in repeating history a third time.
Yeah.
But the Invictus and the Crone have gotten awfully fucking comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really take us seriously anymore. And I think they should.
Alright.
Need to know they're not the only game in town. And we need a rallying point for the movement. Or at least for the guillotines.
Mm-hmm.
It would certainly help the council out if they made a play. I mean a real play. None of this fucking... I'm gonna move my ghoul here and have him exchange this fucking share for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, blow apart one of their fucking stash houses. Kick the shit out of some of their retainers. Or disrupt one of their Elysians. Nothing to go to war over, of course. But enough to make him stop and think.
Enough to disrupt their complacency.
Enough to keep them from getting too comfortable, to remind them that we exist. And to maybe pull a few sympathetic souls to our side.
I gotcha.
The world doesn't like losers. We lost twice. We need to fight smarter. The council saw my sire fighting harder and switched to not fighting at all. Can't work like that. Foster got a good deal. But he spent the last decade sitting on it. Needs to use it for something.
But I'll just nod, writing this all down. Like just keeping.
You remind me of Fairweather.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, this time it makes a bit more sense for a maquette than a Deva.
People think Dava love to talk. Some of us just prefer to listen.
Well, that's fair.
We're really good at talking.
No,
We're also really good at getting people to talk about themselves.
No, that's good. Okay. Then we'll out of it. I do appreciate your time, as always. I have an idea, but I'll need to look into something a little further before I get back to you on it. Ben will back out for him. Just kind of like shake.
He'll shake what, sorry?
No, Ben's just putting a hand out to shake because Ben. Did you catch what I said? Yeah, Ben's just extending the olive branch, as it were.
Quo will spit his blood into his hand and then go to shake.
Ben will try to give him as hearty of a handshake as possible as he can with one string.
Quo has a lot of vigor. And
probably has more strength than Ben does regardless.
He has multiple times your strength level.
It's really easy to beat one.
Yep. Probably the part of the evening where you come across as particularly how to say, ineloquent.
Is it ineloquent?
Yes. Or perhaps
I think inadequate might be the...
Inadequate, infirm, I think are more accurate terms. Yeah, ineloquent would suggest you're being crass. You're not being crass. It's just, you know, you don't come across as having much presence, given that your handshake is as... Well, it's this...
Ben's good at a very select things.
Yeah, it's like... There's nothing really like shaking your hand, really. There is no metaphor that can be used.
Q is just, he's just shaking my whole body. Yeah.
I'll see you around.
See you around. Give him the good old two-fingered salute.
Yeah. He half-heartedly does the same.
Good. I feel like something happened there. I don't think... I know what it was, but I think something happened. Steps in direction. Flails. Do you want to just call it here, or do you want Ben to... I just realized I never used Auspex on him.
You did not.
Mm.
You do hear as you go downstairs. Do you hear Whoa go? See, boys? Sometimes that's all it takes. And you hear him re-entering conversation, and a small crew of kindred begin to bubble up into a cacophony of noise again.
Yeah. Wait, did you cut out, or did you just stop?
What do you mean stop?
Because you're like, you see, boys.
Oh, he said, you see, boys, sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah. God, now I'm like, what the fuck? Can I perception empathy? What the fuck he means by that? Whatever. What's empathy?
Sure. Minus three, because you're hearing this, you have no real... You can't... there's no body language to read. You can't read his expression, so you can only go off of tone.
Does my specialty and motives apply?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. 6 dice!
I believe...
Got a success.
Okay. Simply looks like he was relying on you to be receptive to some sort of concession. or the thought of restitution. From what the other kindred is saying, looks like some of them are predisposed to deal with the council violently, which he had sort of kept in check. It seems more like he's basically saying, I've been vindicated, now shut the fuck up.
It's fair enough. Good for him.
But I think that would be a good place to end our scene.
Yeah.
So, one meeting down, Mr. Smith.
Yep. But Brain is like, vindicated.
Counselor Smith.
What?
You should use your correct, what do you call it? Honorific?
Say Ancilla Smith or
Counselor.
Counselor.
Counselor Smith. And I think with that we can end our scene there. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watcher, for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye bye.